There is a lot of stuff to do in the gaming area and the Web3 area, which is not just NFTs. Like there is way more. You have a fully decentralized AI that is a DAO that pays for its own computing and is unstoppable. I think that AI will be pretty big, but what I want to see as well is more Web2 companies hopping in.
Welcome to the Bare Metal Podcast.
Hello, everyone, and thanks for tuning back into the Bare Metal Podcast. I'm here today with Moshe from Aleph.IM. Welcome.
Hello. Thank you for having me here today.
So I think not everybody knows what Aleph.IM is or does. Can you give us a short intro?
Yeah, sure. So Aleph.IM is a decentralized cloud, meaning everyone knows about AWS. They are providing storage, computing, and stuff like that. You can create instances. Well, we are doing the same thing, but in a decentralized way. And the resources are provided by a decentralized network where people get paid to provide servers, computing, storage.
Why did you guys get started? How old is the company, and how did you start? Why did you get this idea?
I started in 2017, 2018, working on a few blockchain projects, making explorers and stuff like that. And then I wanted to do bigger application, like let's say a Twitter or Facebook or a social network, a fully decentralized social network. And we were lacking a lot of stuff to do it. And I started building it. And in the end, it became a fully featured and full project that became Aleph.IM. This was in end of 2018, start of 2019. And I created a company in 2020 and launched the token in 2020 as well.
When did you guys decide to raise? Was it at the beginning or was it later after, when you say start 2017, did you raise around that time or more around 2020?
No, raised nothing until 2020, late 2020, a bit with some OTC sale with a few select partners. And then in 2021, we did a real Series A raise of $10 million at the end of 2021, start of 2022.
Mm-hmm. Good timing.
Yeah.
I was looking at the website and I found Ubisoft among the investors. This caught my eye because that's a major game publisher. And I was wondering, why is a gaming company investing? Can you explain that?
Well, we have been working for quite a while with Ubisoft. We were part of the Ubisoft Entrepreneurs Lab seasons in 2021, if I recall correctly. And we saw a lot of needs from them on the NFT storage side, and we did some dynamic NFT protocols with them. Like your NFT metadata URL points to our decentralized cloud, and then the metadata can be updated dynamically based on what happens in game. And you still have a decentralized network behind. So it's not centralized, and everything can be audited, and you can know why did this metadata change it that way at that moment. And it was quite important for them. Same for the storage thing. And more generically in the gaming area, there is something that is quite important. Let's say you are a game publisher, okay? You want to make a game. 2 years later, you are saying, okay, I don't want to maintain this game anymore. We have barely no buys of that game. No, we still have players, but we don't earn any money with it. Okay? That's shitty. And most game publishers end up shutting down servers and people get mad at them.
So that breaks the game. Yeah.
Well, if it's running on a decentralized cloud like Aleph.IM, the users can make a DAO and pay for the server fees themselves.
Mm-hmm. I like that. Yeah. So there are some games that have shut down. I was very angry. Yeah, I totally sympathize with that. So the gaming company could have, so the developer or the publisher could actually offload future server costs onto the users if they like the game and want that option.
Yeah,
that's interesting.
And you could have fully decentralized game backends, fully decentralized assets that could go from one game to another. There is a lot of stuff to do in the gaming area and the Web3 area, which is not just NFTs. There is way more into Web3.
Right. So, but the Ubisoft lab or the sort of the startup school, was that focused on that dynamic NFT project? Was that your proof of concept? Why you were there?
Yeah. Yeah, and we were into the Ghost Recon Breakpoint NFTs, which was called Quartz, and the Quartz system had the NFTs onto Tezos, like the ownership part, but like all the metadata, picture, storage, computing was on the AlephIM network.
How many, what's the size of the network today? Like how many, if I think of it in my mind, how many hosts or how many CPU cores or something? Give me some sort of like understanding.
We have 70 core channel nodes, which are the controllers of the network. They are in charge of verifying that those that are providing the resources are really doing it. And they're also validating messages, verifying signatures, hashes, etc. A bit like a validator on like proof of stake networks. And they also need to like have staked Aleph and stuff like that. And we also have 220 computing resource nodes as well. And those are the virtual machine supervisor. They are the one providing the computing power. We expect to triple that amount by Q2 2024 with what we will call the pay-as-you-go, which is the ability to stream tokens directly to the computing resource node that is running your instance. And then we will have less part of the payment of those nodes that will be subsidized by the network.
So 220 sort of distinct providers, 220 operators, let's call that, are parts of your network. Am I getting, is that a fair
220 plus 70, yeah.
Okay, yeah, 220 for the compute nodes and 70 for the sort of validation, let's call it validation services or verification services. How do you guys manage the 70 who are doing the checking? Is that a set managed by you? Can anyone become sort of a member?
Anyone can become a member. You just need to have 200,000 Aleph to create the node and have the community or yourself stake 500,000 Aleph onto it to like activate it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So it's in some sense it's permissionless, but I need access to Aleph tokens, which I guess is not really a blocker. Out of interest, if I wanted to buy Aleph tokens, are they listed anywhere? How do I get them?
Yeah, we are listed on KuCoin, Coinbase, Gate.io, obviously, and it's way better Uniswap V3 because you have like liquidity. Which are on some ranges, etc. So like you can have way better liquidity on Uniswap V3. We are also on PancakeSwap, MXC. We are pretty much.
Okay. Yeah. So you guys are available, right? Yeah. If I wanted to test it, I could. Let's dig some more into the services you guys are offering. So I sort of grouped this into a few sets for myself, and I dig into a couple. So I was seeing some computing, some storage, and some indexing. In the computing part, I was most interested in this private VM. So sort of private and encrypted VM. Can you talk more about is this using the trusted execution environment, or is this some sort of homomorphic encryption scheme?
So I will start by explaining a bit the different type of VM that we have on the network. We have the serverless VMs, which are like Amazon Lambda, and we also have the instances. An instance is what most of the people know, like you can choose your OS, you choose your RAM, you choose your stuff, and you create it, and you have SSH access into your instance. That works well. The issue when you are in a fully decentralized network is that your instance can be scheduled on any of the nodes. We will open a way for you to choose which node will run your instance, and then you can choose more reputable ones or like even cloud providers that will put instances on the network. And then there is a better trust system. But what if you really wanted to like run it somewhere on the network, no one knows where, and you still want to have the security and know that no one can see what is happening inside? Like if you want to like store private keys, it can be anywhere on the network and you don't care about where, and no one can see the private keys inside. That's where the confidential computing comes into play. And we expect to have it early 2024, the confidential computing part. We already have it in like internal alpha, and we will have it in beta shortly after, likely end of the year, early next year. So as to how it works, which was your question, we are using AMD SCV, which is a way to like encrypt fully a VM. It's not just a very small secure enclave somewhere. It's like you will have your own CPU with your own part of the RAM, which is encrypted and bound to your CPU, plus a storage part that is also encrypted. And the good part is that it's a secure element inside the CPU that handles it, and basically you will send the OS image encrypted for that secure element. And that secure element will load it directly, and the node owner can't do anything, can't do a man in the middle there.
That's interesting. I was also my attention. What caught my attention is you're saying earlier that the instance can be. Were you talking about the functions when you said the function can be scheduled to run anywhere? Was this the Lambda construction, or actually also the node? If I run an instance that I can SSH into, you can migrate that instance between providers. Like so you sort of you put it to sleep, you move it, and then you wake it back up. So there's all the state moves.
Yeah, and also we are working on something which is currently in alpha and that will move to beta and general availability, which is constant backup in form of layers. So like your VM gets backed continuously, and then you have the core channel node that do, I won't enter too much into the security details of it. Basically, you're like just, your VM gets backed continuously in forms of layers.
Like Docker layers. When I build more and more steps, like it's sort of creating these diffs. Mm-hmm.
Exactly. And when, let's say, the host that is running your VM shuts down for some reason, then the network will see, whoa, this host came down. We need to get the latest backup that is perhaps half an hour back, and we reschedule it somewhere else.
Okay, so it's possible that I will lose some intermediate data, but the host will then start with like a reasonably fresh snapshot.
Exactly.
In a new location.
And then the computing resource node and the associated core channel node will get penalties on their reward if they've just shut down with no reason.
Right, with no warning.
But if they shut down properly and let people migrate without losing data, they will get less penalty, basically.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Okay, it's an interesting system. I'm wondering how that will work for the customers if I'm SSHing into my account. I guess so. What about, for example, managed database services? Are you guys thinking of that, like just providing a Postgres instance, because that would help with maintaining the state as well, right?
So our network has its own decentralized database, which is maintained by the core channel nodes. Each message into this database is signed, hashed, etc., etc.
So it's a transaction, essentially.
Users can be any of the supported blockchain addresses. So like you can have database instances created by an Ethereum wallet and by a Solana wallet and by a Tezos wallet, Cosmos, Polkadot, etc. They can all work together inside that decentralized database. But if you want to like have better performance than a fully decentralized network, if you want to like have a centralized database, you can do it as well yourself and just install a PostgreSQL with shards and stuff like that as instances. You can do it as well, or you can use our decentralized database system.
Interesting. And in the terms of the functions, like how does that work? Are they replicated across multiple hosts from the get-go? So I'm like, I have reliable service, and you have some automatic routing to these guys wherever the function is available?
Basically, there is two ways to call your functions. The base load balancer, which will find nodes on the network and just run it. And then you will stay on that host unless it's too loaded, and then it will start loading it somewhere else. We are also working on a decentralized load balancer where you will basically connect via peer-to-peer, get a list of hosts in JavaScript, and then find the correct host, and your browser will do that load balancing, which is better decentralized. Or we also have a curated endpoint, which will basically preload VMs that are loaded a lot, preload it on a certain hosts, and then rotate between those hosts and shrink and get the pool of VMs bigger.
So some sort of auto scaling behind
Yeah.
the service. Another thing that was interesting for me is you had GPU support with a question mark in there, which of course GPU is super hot in today's AI hungry workload market. So what are you guys planning around GPUs?
So we don't have the GPU support yet. It's planned. It will likely come just after the confidential virtual machine, because this part is a bit more important in our minds. But then we will have the GPU support ready. It won't be a lot more work because we need to change the hypervisor technology we use inside the nodes to support the confidential VM, and then it will be the same that will be reused for the GPU support. Ideally early 2024, and we are already in talks with a few data center providers that will likely put nodes on the network for the GPU support, and this will come with the pay-as-you-go feature, which is quite important.
That's pretty interesting. Of course, AI GPU support immediately brings to my mind AI workloads. So one of the questions I have is sort of what are you guys doing around AI, and how is that relevant to Aleph.IM?
Well, there is one project which is called Libertai.io, which is built on top of Aleph.IM, which aims to bring AI into the Aleph.IM network, because in my opinion, there is cloud providers, but there is also AI API providers. And AI API provider will become bigger and bigger as time goes, because whenever you need to do text completion, whenever you need to have functions, because your texts are like functions. You can give it examples, ask it a question, and you get a result. And sometimes when you do some part of code, let's say, that isn't used that much, you could just call on AI endpoint and just get the result back, and then you don't even need to code a certain feature that is used 10 times per day. And in our opinion, having this inside Aleph.IM is quite critical, and so Libertai is working on it. And Libertai brings a large language model, a bit like ChatGPT. They are also working on image generation, image ingestion directly inside large language models, text to speech, speech to text, and stuff like that. And so Libertai is currently working on CPU only. And actually, if you test it on chat.libertai.io, it's as fast as ChatGPT, and you have quite similar outputs because, you don't need huge models in reality. If you can import data inside it and add data dynamically, you don't need huge models in the end.
So would you guys, that's an interesting use case. Would you be able to support that in your network? So in AI, this is called fine tuning, right? So I can, in today's parlance, so like a base model or a foundation model is that this big or moderately big baseline model that's trained on a lot of text that understands some statistical relationships inside, human written text in different languages. But then one of the key pieces that I think are interesting is a fine tuning piece. So this model generally might give me reasonable results for my task, but if I have examples of my task, and I can actually fine tune that model for much less cost than the original training, and then I have like a dedicated API endpoint. That would be really cool if you guys could do something like that. Do you think that would be possible on the network one day?
Yeah, that's something that we are working on supporting Libertai to do. The thing
is that your in-house project, or like what you're mentioning?
No, it's not an in-house project. It's another startup that is developing Libertai, but we are supporting them quite heavily because it's critical for us to have capabilities on the network. And to be honest, I'm having a lot of fun playing with it. So,
can you show us?
Yeah, sure.
I've seen a live demo before, and I'd love for the viewers to be able to see it. Whoever's looking at video.
What is
Yeah, I've seen this interface before. Familiar.
What is Ethereum? Let's ask it directly. It's decentralized open source blockchain platform that enables developer to build and deploy smart contracts on the apps, etc., etc. So it has information about what is Ethereum and yeah. So
what if you ask for the current price of Ethereum? Can you show can you ask it the current price, because that will tell us when it was trained?
Yeah, what is the current price of Ethereum? September
Right.
20.
So okay, so it's even telling us. So it knows its data is outdated, just like ChatGPT. Yeah, that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
So this is Mistral CC. Do you know what the CC means?
So here, it's CC is because it's using a fine tune over a fine tune, which is called collective cognition by Technium, which is a pretty cool guy on Twitter that has been doing fine tuning on models. He's also behind Nous Hermes, if I recall correctly, which is another pretty well-known fine-tune. So yeah, CC is because it's a fine-tune of Mistral 7B. There is a few other models that are provided here, like Xwin in 13B, which is based on Llama 2, Code Llama, which is Colama 34B, Wizard Coder, etc.
So and all those, you were saying GPUs are not supported yet, right? So this is running on CPU.
Yeah, it's all running on CPU, but we did a lot of tricks and stuff to make it run fast, and it works.
Is that true also for the 34B model? Like you can run the 34B model in the chat window?
Right now it's slow. We because we like did a big change for to like help them support Mistral 7B, and this change will be ported to 34B. 34B will be faster. Right now 34B is a bit slow. I can try, but write Python hello world.
All right, I mean 34B is a big model, even if you shrink the weights, right? So it'll do a lot of sort of RAM intensive work, I guess.
But it works. Right now it's slow, to be honest. I expect to have something like 5x speed up in the near future for it, because we will backport all the changes that we did, and like the Libertai team will move their VM to like that improvement, but it's still working, which is quite impressive on CPU.
Yeah. It's able to generate the message. Like I could see myself waiting a little bit to see that. So I'm really excited to see this sort of effort that I think will really help prevent lock-in of AI behind big paywalls. I mean, if you guys had a service that would just charge per call, right? Just same way you have these functions, so you have like chat functions basically, and I could just pay 0.001 whatever and ask my question. That sounds really exciting.
Right now, the API, while it's still in beta, is free. So like there is an API that you can already use right now. So for right now it's free, but the goal for Libertai is that here you will be able to connect your wallet, and when you connect your wallet, you will be able to do a chat to earn. Like the more you chat with it, if you agree to share your chat logs and give feedbacks on the answers, you can get paid in Libertai token, and then use those Libertai token for requests and better models and stuff like that.
So decentralized all the way to usage.
Exactly.
I can be a trainer as well as a user.
Yeah.
This is a really cool effort. I love that. I had no idea. I think I've heard about this somewhere, but I haven't seen the interface, and it looks pretty clean. So what wallets can I connect now, by the way?
Right now it's an Ethereum wallet.
Okay.
And if you connect your Ethereum wallet right now, you can sign a message saying, yeah, I'm interested. And it writes a message on the Aleph.IM Explorer.
Right.
Which is there. Let's see the messages. And if I look at the Libertai channel, you can see people who registered their interest into Libertai.
Who signed up.
and you can see the messages that they have been signing.
What do you think is going to be the most interesting usage of this feature? Are you guys still in the exploration phase, or are you thinking of like some specific verticals where you'd like to offer this?
On the AI side, you mean?
Yeah, on the AI side, sort of like this. You'd be speaking on behalf of the Liberty team, I understand, but I'm just wondering if you guys are sort of thinking, hey, this unique combo of open source models built by Mistral recently raised a big amount of funding from France. Mistral from France, plus the decentralized backend. What could be the
main usage? Well, I kind of like to think that using, like, if you want to make really decentralized autonomous organization like DAOs, the best use case would be to have like an AI that manages the DAO. And if it's running on OpenAI, then it doesn't work. You will need to have a DAO that can pay for its own computing and that runs on a decentralized network. So for me, that's the ideal use case. You have a fully decentralized AI that is a DAO that pays for its own computing and is unstoppable on a decentralized network.
And so then the AI would be, let me think through this, like, would that be sort of like the administrator of the DAO? Or like, do you think the AI would be the DAO and would be talking to other DAOs and whatever?
It could be both. Like, both things could be seen in the future. And there is a lot of talk in the AI space about agents. A DAO would be an agent, basically.
Right. So agent, in terms of, just to make it clear for the listeners, an agent would be a technical term for like an autonomous processing unit that can say reserve flights for you. You ask it like, hey, could you reserve flights on my behalf? And we'll say, what are your documents? And then go and find and offer you some flights and then reserve them for you. So it will actually do things instead of just process like information that you put in. That's a pretty interesting evolution. We'll see who comes with these. I haven't seen any real agents so far. I don't know if you've hit some agents. Like, I haven't seen anybody reserve any flights or book some tickets. But I guess that's something that's coming.
Personally, I'm using a few agents for my blockchain use cases, but that's personal. So
okay. We don't want to steal your price fees. I understand. So the other use case that was interesting is indexing.
Yeah.
Obviously, indexing, very important problem for understanding blockchain data. You guys built a new open source framework.
Yeah.
Why did you guys decide to do that? Did you not find any interesting frameworks, or you had some specific requirements? You wanted to build your own?
It all started on Solana during the Solana summer that everyone knows about. A lot of DeFi projects were blooming everywhere, and we were like, yeah, we want to do indexing. And because all those DeFi projects were all centralized, and that's something that's quite important for us, is that we want DeFi projects and Web3 projects to ditch AWS and have the whole backend on the Aleph.IM network. And I think that it makes sense. But they all used very centralized indexing because they had the indexing needs to like see the state of their protocol. And everyone was building their own custom stack. And we were like, we could perhaps make an open source indexer and help people to like, they can build their indexer using our framework, and then they just deploy it on a decentralized cloud, and they don't have any centralized part anymore. And that's how it started on Solana. Mm-hmm. And then we ported it on EVM chains. We are now porting it on like a few others, including Tezos and others, because there is a need for it.
So you guys have existing demand. There are guys using your indexing framework and service. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Okay, that's also a pretty interesting direction in which to go. So what about competition? Like, do you feel there are other companies that are building something similar, or how do you guys differ? Where do you guys see yourselves with regards to any potential sort of cloud compute, let's say decentralized cloud compute competition? Because that's a very wide term, I understand.
Yeah, well, there is a lot of different companies. There are companies and projects. There are projects like iExec and Golem who are doing only computing. There are projects like Filecoin that are doing only storage. Others like Bluezell that are only doing a database. So we are all of that. We don't aim to like replace a Filecoin, for example. That's not our goal. And even in the future, we want to have a storage backend that could be Filecoin, for example. And on the other hand, there are more cloud providers that are being built, like, for example, Akash, Flux, or like others. And then they only support a subset of what we are doing. And they aren't doing it in a way that can be automatically scalable, or that could do our AI use cases or stuff like that. So we find that we have a pretty unique standpoint there, providing a full-featured decentralized cloud, and that's what we are really trying to do.
What's your major focus right now? And what's your first priority? Is it the private VMs? You mentioned that that's something that you want to deliver early. Is this the key thing that the company is working on?
Currently, the key thing is getting instances fully up to speed. They are up to speed, and we just released a new AlephIM release today, which makes them behave way better and support direct IPv6 routing to like a VM to allow you to like SSH to it and stuff like that. And yeah, confidential VMs are coming. For us, it's really something that is critical. Full decentralized DNS as well. Basically, you just point your DNS.
I was going to ask that. Okay, so you are replacing the DNS system.
Well, not fully replacing it, because we need to be compatible with browser OSs, etc. But basically, we want to replace your registrar. We can't. Although some new generation of registrar are coming and we will work with them. But for generic registrars, basically you will point your name server toward the Aleph.IM network, and then the Aleph.IM network, you will have fallbacks inside your DNS, and then it will find a way to like get you to what is
right
currently hosting your own domain. So I could
get some latency increases, but I will hop to the right. I will be routed to the
actually
right.
Not really, like, because we will be doing it at the DNS level. Like core channel node could become DNS providers doing that.
Okay, right.
And
they have the catalog of the instances running on each host. And
then you have a direct redirect toward your node IPv6 if the client is IPv6, and then you have no latency. Like you request it and you get it, and you go get directly toward your host that that will like route inside your VM, because your VM has a unique IPv6, and so you have no latency increase at all. So this is another priority for us, and then GPU as well, and everything that comes around it, like stuff that we're working on with Ubisoft as well, and other stuff like the VRF that we just released that are offline verifiable random function. It's not on-chain, like it's not competitor to like Chainlink or like others. It's off-chain VRF that you can use directly inside your programs and inside your things. You can have a VRF inside any Aleph.IM app, so you can have a predictable random that you can control.
Where do you expect the market for compute to go in the future? I mean, who's going to be, if you think like 3-4 years from now, who's going to be the biggest user? Is it the gaming industry? Is it, somebody else? Is it the AI, based use cases? Where do you guys see this?
I think that AI will be pretty big, but what I want to see as well is more Web2 companies hopping in. And that's where our plans for pay-as-you-go and fiat gateways and stuff like that will come into play. That's a bit longer term, like end of next year or stuff like that, because we aren't building fiat gateways. That's not our job. We will integrate with like DeFi bricks doing it. But the idea is that we want to have any kind of Web2 company that just want to pay in credit card to be able to like
Right.
reserve nodes on the network, and even be able to like say, okay, I want my instances to run on nodes that are in this country, this country, this country, and not somewhere else. Because if we head into a war or something like that, the network could like even split at some time, rejoin or stuff like that. We are trying to make the network resilient to war as well, because if it comes, it needs to be ready, and you need to be able to like specify where your workload will run in on adversarial stuff. Like, and a lot of Web2 companies will have needs like that. So we want to have this kind of like redundancy by design. Like if a cloud provider goes down, your app will continue running and you won't even see any hiccups inside it. So that's a pretty strong use case and selling point against regular Web2 cloud companies. And also for like data center owners, cloud providers, they could put nodes on the AlephIM network and get paid. And if there is native fiat gateways, they can just get a revenue stream in fiat and don't even care about crypto.
Well, let's hope people see the light and start using Aleph.IM.
Yeah, I hope so.
Well, this was a very exciting talk. Pretty interesting stuff that you guys have there. I'm definitely going to try the Libertai tool
Thanks.
myself. Have some fun with it. I don't think I've chatted with the Mistral model, so definitely interested in doing that now. So anyway, hey, thanks very much, Moshe, for coming on the show.
Thank you as well.